Whoa, take us in there quick, way quicker than our normal intro. All right, March 17th, 2025 is today's date. I see my camera is back to the Zoom. My head doesn't fit in the frame. But, there's nothing we can do about that at this point. StreamYard sucks. They're on notice. I hope that they fix whatever's going wrong with it because it's not Logitech. It's not my camera.
Maybe don't sit so close to your computer.
I've been sitting in this exact spot for years, and it's never looked like this before.
Okay.
But whatever. The bracket came out yesterday, and it wasn't, without a lot of controversy. Maybe the most controversial one yet, I would say. I think there's a lot of stuff in this bracket that people would say does not make sense, and I think that's a fair assessment. I guess we could start with North Carolina getting in.
Yeah,
which they did get in. They will play in Dayton tomorrow night against San Diego State. And I think the biggest problem – okay, so Indiana doesn't get in. Fine, whatever.
right.
I think you could make an argument for them, probably a better one than North Carolina. But nevertheless, another problem that I saw, of course, was Boise State being worse off than Ohio State in the committee's eyes, which – if you're going to live and die by the metrics, just tell us you're doing that because Ohio State was 39th in Ken Palm. They were a good metrics team, but they lost 15 games, as did Texas. I think there's an argument to make for Texas not getting in as well. I think obviously if Texas doesn't beat A&M in the SEC tournament, they're not in, but we'll save that for another day. The big issue is obviously West Virginia not getting in. And the biggest problem that I see with it, other than just the resumes side by side, is the committee's excuse for keeping West Virginia out was that Tucker DeVries is hurt. Tucker DeVries has not played since December.
For a while, yeah.
He hasn't played since December. I understand he's their best player. But even the fact that he hasn't played since December, let's look at some of the things that they did without him. And I understand that they are a team that, from a metric standpoint, wasn't overly elite, but guess what? The two teams that are directly in front of West Virginia are Utah State and Memphis, and they're both in from a metric standpoint.
Memphis got a 5 seed too.
Yes, which we'll get to that. So Tucker DeVries' last game of the season he played 8 games. His last game was against Georgetown. Okay, they lost to Pitt when he was there. They lost to Louisville. He was really good in those games, obviously, but he goes down. They were, 6-2 with him, and without him, they went 13-11, which I understand that that's not great. But let's look at some of the wins they got without him. They won at Kansas. Say what you will about Kansas this year, but Kansas, winning at, Allen Fieldhouse is not the easiest thing to do. They beat Iowa State. I know Cincinnati's not very good, but they are comparable in terms of being a top 60 metric team. They beat them twice without him. And I understand the thing like don't lose to Colorado in the Big 12 tournament. 100% agree. But that cannot be their excuse for leaving West Virginia out of the field when you have a North Carolina team that has absolutely wildly underperformed expectations. They have a quad 1 record of 1-12.
Yeah.
Whereas West Virginia was 6-10 in quad 1. They had 0 quad 3 or 4 losses. North Carolina had a quad 3 loss. It does not make any sense. And the fact that they roll out the committee chair, who's the athletic director at North Carolina, it makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it at all. And I think the entire country is going to be rooting for North Carolina to get the brakes beat off of them tomorrow night. And I hope that happens as well.
Yeah, sadly, they'll probably win 2 games and be like, told you they should be in or something like that. Yep. I think Xavier's probably in that same boat. I know everybody's talking about North Carolina, but Xavier only won 1 quad 1 game. I don't think any league deserves 14 teams in either. So Texas, I mean, that's another one that is shocking. I know everybody wants to talk about North Carolina, but it just seems something's afoot when West Virginia doesn't get in. Especially when you look at like the bracketologists, the people that spend their whole, winter doing this, and 111 out of 111 had West Virginia in.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think if you look at the 4 teams, 3 of them that got in, or 5 teams, I guess if you include Indiana, the 3 of them that got in, and then a couple of them that didn't get in. Xavier, Texas, North Carolina. I think Xavier is the best team of those 3. And then I think it's Texas, then I think it's North Carolina. So, and then, I think West Virginia and Indiana, both, you could make an argument could have gotten in over them. There are elements to the idea that you can't hurt yourself the way that some of those teams did. Xavier, I know, pleaded to the committee about when they lost to UConn and Marquette in December. They were without their best player, Fremantle. But I don't understand why North Carolina has any business being in the tournament. I get that they have good metrics. I don't even understand how they have good metrics. They're not a good basketball team. They lost to Duke by 13 in the season. That was in Chapel Hill. They lost to Duke without Flag in the semifinal in the ACC tournament. They had the easiest path you could possibly have for a team that went, what did they finish? 4th in the conference or whatever? That was the easiest path ever. I mean, they played Notre Dame and Wake Forest to get there, and they were losing to Wake Forest at half, I think. They're up 2, but whatever.
Pretty sure that Bubba, whatever his name is, said that Indiana didn't prove themselves in their quad 1 games or something to that effect too, which is mind-blowing. And then in another one he was talking about they go off Torvik, and another one which West Virginia was ahead of North Carolina in both of those. So it just, there's no doubt in my mind that this is just, helping a buddy out, make another $100,000 or whatever it is. So
North Carolina has one quality win. It was a neutral site in December against UCLA. They outscored them by 13 in the final 10 minutes to win. They were losing going into the final 10 minutes of the game. They were down 61-50. So I don't understand it at all. I don't think this is a good team. They've wildly underperformed what people thought they'd be preseason. They're not in a good conference. It's not like they're in the ACC is a really, really bad conference outside of the top 3. And I think it's just a complete outrage that they get in over West Virginia.
Yeah.
Next thing is, I think the 1 seeds were pretty clearly locked up as of Saturday. I don't think the committee had any concern for what Florida did in the SEC championship. Houston, even if Houston loses to Arizona, I still think they get a 1 seed. Duke obviously was locked in, and Auburn was locked in. They also didn't care that Auburn lost to Tennessee in the SEC semifinal, which I'm okay with. But I think the 1 seeds were all the right call.
I agree.
12 and 13 seeds, I like a lot of these teams. You look at UC San Diego, you look at Colorado State, you look at Grand Canyon, Akron, High Point, McNeese. I'm going to struggle to pick some of them, though, because I don't love the matchups for them. But interesting group of 12 and 13 seeds. SEC gets 14 teams in. We already discussed that a little bit. I will question why Memphis got a 5 seed. That's where I wonder about the committee was going to have to change something if UAB won that late game, and they had already had a bracket with Memphis as a 5. So them winning, they weren't going to move them. I don't understand.
Memphis, it seemed like UAB would have just came into the play-in game for North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Memphis was kind of locked in there. It's weird. And then to have Louisville as a 8 seed, and that, there's just some, if you put Louisville at an 8 seed and you're letting North Carolina in as a play-in game, like
their evaluation of the ACC reeks. It doesn't make any sense. But Memphis, I think they might be the worst 5 seed of all time. Like, I understand this was a good basketball team in Maui. They showed something. They played well. They have a good record. They won 30 or 29 games. They went 29-5. But just everything you look at with this team, and for them to not, it doesn't look like Tyrese Hunter is going to play. They're a 2.5-point underdog to Colorado State. I don't see any scenario where I pick Memphis to win in the first round. And to talk about Louisville real quick, they shouldn't be an 8 seed. They should probably be like a 6. But the committee also did them a favor by giving them a home game against Auburn if they play in the second round in Kentucky. So
yeah, very true.
It's a trade-off there. But and I think that, to me, I understand there's UConn on the 8-9 line. I understand there's Gonzaga. I understand Baylor's there. I think Louisville is the 8 seed that I would pick to beat a 1 in the second round. I think that's the one. If I had to pick one, it would be that one. But I'm not going to do that. Or will I? Who knows? I haven't filled out a bracket. Nobody knows. Yeah, Ethan Morton plays for Colorado State. I mean, that team's a wagon. Yeah. But like Memphis is 51st on KenPom. There's an argument, certainly an argument to be made. This is the worst 5 seed ever in a long time. Like, I understand they have a good record, but they're in the conference, American Athletic Conference, which features UAB's fine, Wichita State and Tulane are fine. But what has this team shown anybody since they beat UConn and Michigan State and Maui?
Yeah, and they
lost to Arkansas State at home, and they lost to Mississippi State at home.
I just think like the first weekend of games or whatever that is, like when they do they shouldn't hold as much weight. I know that it is, and it's the whole body of work, but teams just aren't the same then as they are now. So,
and once again, the committee, I guess there's not enough time between the Big Ten championship game and when they reveal the brackets. You have graphics to put together and all this stuff. Like Michigan should be a 4, Purdue should be a 5. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. Yeah. I don't understand that at all, but I think that's just what it is. Like the committee, they already got it locked in.
Yeah, does the Big Ten need to start playing their championship on Saturdays?
I think they should make us wait 3 hours for the bracket after that. That would be funny if they did that. Have the bracket come out at 7 Central.
Yeah, true.
Going through the regions, my first thought when I saw each of the regions, the South region, the first thing I thought was, why is Louisville an 8, and why are they playing in Lexington, Kentucky in the second round? Why does Auburn have to play in Lexington, Kentucky against 2 teams from the Midwest? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Did you have a first thought on the South?
I thought that it was kind of unbeneficial, like you. I think putting Michigan State in Auburn's is also a little strange. Just because I thought Michigan State was the top 2 seed. Maybe they weren't. I don't know how it all broke down, but
I have the seed list somewhere. I also thought, wow, Tom Izzo is going to do it again. Let me see here.
I still don't trust this Michigan State team, but
Tennessee was the number 1, 2 seed, then Alabama, then Michigan State. And this also tells you all you need to know about what the committee thinks about the Big East, with St. John's being a 30-win team and being the last 2 seed.
Right.
The East region, my first thought was Dana Altman is going to get to the Sweet 16.
Really?
Easily, yeah.
I don't have Dana getting out of the first round, so.
And I also thought, why are they making Wisconsin go to Denver and play on Thursday?
I agree.
After playing 4 in 4 days.
That's terrible.
And by the way, Michigan is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, the Midwest region, my first thought was, my God, I love the draw for Illinois. But then I do think Xavier is very dangerous if they beat Texas. And I don't understand why, all these brackets that are being tweeted out by the March Madness account of celebrities, quote unquote, who haven't sniffed college basketball in their lives or watched it this year for the most part. Everybody's picking Texas to win against Xavier and beat Illinois. I think Texas is just. I would rather play Texas.
Yeah,
from an Illinois standpoint, but
yeah, I like the draw. I don't know if I love playing a play-in game. Those play-in games, those guys seems like a team from one of those 2 games.
Could be North Carolina,
makes a run. So, Illinois gonna have to show up. I think you're happy because you got 2 of the last 2 teams in, and Texas has been good. Xavier's been pretty good lately, but
Illinois gets to play Illinois gets to play in Milwaukee. That's a break.
Absolutely. And late on a Friday night, I think there'll be a lot of Illinois fans traveling to Milwaukee for that game.
So I understand that Sean Miller lost to Rodney Terry a couple years ago in the tournament, but that's not happening again when their rosters are more even. There's no way that's happening. And Xavier's better. Like, I don't know. Rodney Terry has a lottery pick freshman, Trey Johnson, and he doesn't know how to use them. I don't know, whatever. The West region, my first thought was we get Rick Pitino against Bill Self or John Calipari in the second round.
Yeah.
And Kansas and Arkansas, I'm almost glad they're playing each other because I don't want them to both waste a game by being impossible to watch, which both of those teams are. And I have a lot of thoughts on that game, which we'll get to. But all right, let's continue. Who are we going to continue here? Let's talk a little bit about the first four tomorrow. First game is, of course, between Alabama State and St. Francis. 5:40 Central, True TV in Dayton. This game is going to come down to if Alabama State is able to both take care of the basketball and force turnovers, they should easily beat St. Francis. I think they're a lot better than St. Francis. I understand both of them weren't great in their conferences. They kind of saved schools like SIUE and Norfolk State from having to play in the playing game. But I'm going to pick Alabama State to win this game. So that's where I'm at on that.
I have no idea. I'll go with you, though.
I'm going to be right. It's cool.
Okay.
North Carolina, San Diego State is a game that I just wonder, like, man, if San Diego State's defense can do what they're normally capable of doing, I understand they don't have Lamont Butler anymore, but if they can just make some shots and force turnovers and just play the brand of ball that they usually play, they should be a team that wins this game. But for some reason, North Carolina is going to win this game, and there's nothing we can do about it.
I'll take San Diego State just because screw North Carolina.
And I'm usually a North Carolina guy when it comes to North Carolina against Duke, but it's a shame. American and Mount St. Mary's, the first game on Wednesday. This should be a hell of a battle between two elite squads, huh? These teams are better than the ones that are playing on Tuesday, so give them credit there. I think it's safe to say. American's kind of been a bit of a wagon, so to speak, since January 11th. They started the year 7-9. They're 13-3 since then. Losses coming to Bucknell by a lot, and they lost to Army and Navy as well. But they rolled through the Patriot League tournament after the first game was close against Lafayette. Mount St. Mary's is a school that I believe was the 5 seed in the Metro Atlantic. They went 12-8. They beat Iona by 14 in the final game. The big thing here, I think, will be is Mount St. Mary's defense and kind of some of the ball pressure stuff that they do. Is that going to shut down American's offense? American doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. I will say Mount St. Mary's does turn the ball over a lot. They're 359th in the country in turnover percentage on offense. But I think if they're able to pass freely and kind of move the ball the way that they typically do, I think Mount St. Mary's can win. However, I think defense wins in these stupid first 4 16-seed games. So I'm going to take American. Solely, I meant to say I'm going to take Mount St. Mary's.
I was going to say.
solely because of the defensive metrics for Mount St. Mary's are far superior. I mean, they guard a lot better. So give me them.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Going against American.
Let's take the underdog, I assume.
Take the unders in these games too. I think that's the
yeah.
All right, Texas and Xavier. Winner plays the Illini. Texas 19-15 record this season. I really think Xavier's better. Defensively they have better defensive efficiency. They have better offensive efficiency. They shoot 38.8% from 3, which is essentially 39. They don't miss their free throws. They're fourth in the country in assists per field goals made. They have Ryan Conwell, Zach Fremantle, former future Illini Dante Maddox, Davion McKnight as well. His second year there, he was at West Virginia before. This is just a talented group. I'm kind of surprised that they weren't better this year. They had a kind of a rough stretch. I mean, if you look at them since January 7th, since they lost by 10 to St. John's, they are 12-5. So they've been, better in the last couple of months. I'm going to take Xavier, though. Sean Miller, I think they'll win this game.
Yeah, I'll take Xavier. Screw the 14th ranked team in the SEC.
All right, so then I have Auburn and Alabama State. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Auburn gets it done.
Yeah.
Louisville Creighton. This is a matchup of teams that have a lot of experience, and I don't know if it's quality experience as much as it is just these guys have played a lot of college basketball. But both of these teams have over 2.6 years of experience in D1 hoops. It's 38th ranked for Creighton and 5th for Louisville. It's going to come down to guard play, I think, and I like Louisville's guards more. I like their perimeter more, whether it's Chucky Hepburn or Rain Smith or Terrence Edwards, the James Madison transfer. I get that both backcourts are really old, but I'm going to take Louisville. This is going to be a really, really good game, though, and it's the game that leads it off. Yeah,
I'm also taking Louisville in this.
All right, Michigan and UC San Diego. This is a hard one for me. UC San Diego has won 15 straight. They're 30-4. They went 18-2 in conference play. They rolled in the Big West tournament. They beat UC Santa Barbara by 18. They beat UC Irvine by 14. Aniwaniwa Tate Jones played a really, really good game in that final game against UC Irvine. He had 14, 8, and 8 in a block, and then the game before he had 28 and 9 with 3 blocks and a steal. Like, he's been doing it all. He's been really, really good in this stretch. He has, count them, folks, like 9 Ken Pom MVPs in their last 15 games. He's been a monster. This is a really, really good basketball team, but what they lack to me is those big interior guys that can, put a body on somebody. Their lineup is 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'6", 6'8". They're a 5-out perimeter team. Like, Norden Kapich made 3 threes. He's playing the 5 for them. He made 3 threes against UC Irvine. The 7-footer, Leichton, or whatever his name is, from UC Irvine is not what they're going to get with Vlad Golden. And it's a different dynamic with Danny Wolf. And I really, really worry about that. I understand the average height number is not bad for UC San Diego, but that's because they have a bunch of guys who are 6'4" or taller. They don't have that big. And I'm very concerned about that. But I think 5-out teams can be really effective against Michigan. Yeah. So this is a really hard game to pick. It's easy to evaluate what both teams could do. But with how much I've been on UC San Diego this year, I think they win. I think the Big Ten champion goes down in the first round. I'm going to take the Tritons. I think I have to. Yeah,
I'm going to take UC San Diego also. I think this is a lot of 5-12. A lot of people are picking. So that means Michigan will probably win. But again, like you said, 5-out. I mean, that's what Illinois does. Illinois beat Michigan into the ground.
Yeah.
So
you could argue that Wisconsin does that a lot too, but Wisconsin also 4 games in 4 days, they couldn't make a shot.
Right.
All right. Texas A&M and Yale. And by the way, I did not mention, this is a good point from Philip. I think UC San Diego is number 2 in the country at forcing turnovers, and they're number 7 in the country at not turning the ball over, whereas Michigan is 328th in the country at turnover. So that is, if UC San Diego can play an effective 5-out where they're making shots, Aniwaniwa Tate Jones gets to the free throw line a lot. If you can get one of those bigs in foul trouble, going to the rim. And I just think the UC San Diego does match up pretty well in a lot of areas against Michigan. Texas A&M and Yale is the number 1, like, give me a hammer, let me hammer the – I think Texas A&M is going to kill them. And I'm kind of surprised that anybody's picking Yale to win this game.
Yeah, I'm taking Texas A&M in this.
Like, the rebounding, the athletes, and I watched Yale both games in the big Ivy League tournament. I didn't trust them. Like, they played close games. I just don't think they have the horses. I think Texas A&M is going to lay them out. All right, I got Ole Miss and North Carolina. Chris Beard's going to win this game. Like Ole Miss is huge. They're athletic. They can guard. They can score. I'm taking Ole Miss.
Same. Danny
Iowa State Lipscomb. Now Iowa State's got an injury problem here.
Yeah.
I believe Keyshawn Gilbert is going to be out.
They should have been in the tournament. Keyshawn Gilbert's out.
Well, they did go 24-9 in their top 10 KenPom team. But I will say Iowa State is 9-8 since they beat Kansas by 17 on January 15th. So they started 15-1 with a loss to Auburn, and it hasn't been that great since. But Lipscomb's a team that, like, the metrics tell me this team should be so much better. But then if you watch them play, I just don't see it as much.
Yeah.
Like, this team is 83rd on KenPom. Like, that's pretty good for a 14 seed. That's not that far away from Memphis. It's only, 20 or 30 spots away from Memphis, who's a 5 seed. So that is Iowa State should be careful here, but I think they'll win the game.
Yeah, I think Iowa State will still pull this one out.
All right. Maybe my favorite individual player matchup in this region, and that is Cam Jones and Donovan Dent. That is Shaka Smart and Richard Pitino. That's Marquette, New Mexico. I think if you are New Mexico here, you have to love the opportunity. And even if you're going to say, like, there's a lot of games in this tournament where the coach is like, hey, this coach probably has 1 foot out the door. I'm going to pick a lot of those teams to win, though. And I'm going to pick New Mexico. They get up and down the court. They're a top 20 defensive efficiency team. I think they have the best duo in this game. I understand if you want to give me Cam Jones and, David Joplin, who's been doing it forever. If you want to give me those two, okay, that's fine. But I mean, it doesn't get much better than Donovan Dent and Nelly Jr. Joseph for a New Mexico team that has kind of rolled some. They've kind of been rolling in Mountain West play. I know they lost to Boise State by 3 on Friday in their second game of the tournament. But if you look at their January to early March, most of their wins, they were rolling teams. They beat Colorado State by 22 before Colorado State got going. So, and they beat them by 8 in December. So they beat them twice. But I'm going to take New Mexico here. I don't like this Marquette team very much, despite the fact that Cam Jones is a phenomenal player.
Yeah, I'm officially jumping off the Marquette wagon. I've been trying to build them up since, forever ago. So give me New Mexico winning this.
All right, final game of the first round here, Michigan State and Bryant. Michigan State, I think it was great for them to lose in the Big Ten tournament when they did. I think if you look at the rosters, you see some players on Bryant that were once 4 or 5-star guys like Earl Timberlake, and guys who played at the high major level like Raphael Pinzon did at St. John's. And there's a reason why Pitino didn't want him at St. John's. So Michigan State's going to win this game, and I'm not going to spend too much time evaluating a 2-15. This is 9 o'clock Friday night on TBS. Michigan State, though, I think handles them pretty easily. I'm not sure Bryant gets to 60 points in this game.
Yeah, probably right.
Despite your mistrust of the Spartans. All right. Now, what I like to do here is go to the right side and go to the East region here. And that's Duke, Mount St. Mary's. We don't need to spend any time there. That's going to be a Duke game. The hardest 8-9 for me to evaluate here is Mississippi State, Baylor. Like I hate
Mississippi State.
I don't trust either one of these teams at all. And it hasn't been that way all year. Like watching Baylor, there's 2 Baylor games this year. I'm like, holy shit, this is a really good basketball team. But then there are games where you just watch them and you're like, wow, they're not good. And the 2 early games that you're like, wow, this team is bad. They got, I don't know if people remember when Gonzaga beat them by 38 to open the season. That happened. They lost to Tennessee by 15, but then they fought hard against St. John's and won in double overtime there. And then they had a game they beat Kansas by 11. Like they handled Kansas when we thought Kansas, hey, maybe Kansas isn't that bad, but they are that bad. But then you just look at some of the other stuff and it's like, they can't beat anybody. And, I like Scott Drew. I think he's a great coach, but I've said it before. I think they've been a little bit disappointing as a program since winning the national championship in 2021. And then on the flip side, Mississippi State started 14-1. They're 7-11 since then. Their one quality win in that stretch was really beating Ole Miss at home. I don't see that being Texas A&M. They beat Texas A&M. I'll give them that. I don't like either one of these teams. But what I will take is Baylor because Baylor has a lottery pick guy in VJ Edgecombe, and Baylor doesn't shoot 31% from three like Mississippi State does. So I'm going to take Baylor.
I'm going to take Baylor also.
But I don't think it's as simple as, hey, Baylor's a basketball school, Mississippi State's not. It's not that simple, but I'm taking Baylor. Oregon and Liberty, I mean, folks, how many coaches out there are better than Dana Altman at somehow winning more tournament games than he should? Last year, was Oregon that good last year? I mean, not really, no. And they destroyed South Carolina, who people liked going into the tournament. And then they went to double overtime with a very good Creighton team. So I'm taking the Ducks. I think that they're going to roll them. I think Shellstad is going to get it going in this tournament. I'm really excited. Hopefully we see an Oregon-Arizona second round. But I'm going to take the Ducks here.
Give me Liberty.
That's just a ridiculously stupid pick, but good luck picking against Dana Altman with that bullshit. Arizona-Akron. I'm not advocating for anybody to do cocaine, but if you do it, this game is going to be like doing it, so you don't have to do it. Arizona-Akron. You talk about tempo. You talk about teams getting the ball and going. If you talk about those two things where it's just like this, they're running up and down the court, this game is going to be just like doing cocaine, so you don't have to do cocaine. Arizona-Akron.
Let's just come into
phenomenal pace to this game. And I think Akron's going to be able to score with them. I think, there's guys that are capable of shooting teams out of games on the Arizona team. Give me John Gross. Give me the Zips to run Arizona out of the gym.
Arizona by 25.
I was saying that thing about 12 and 13s. I think I got a couple more 12 and 13 first-round winners in me, and I already got a 13 and a 12 winning. So let's keep going here. BYU, VCU. Nobody advocated more for BYU than me in the Big 12. I like this team a lot. I think the offensive creativity is something that the Phoenix Suns are missing with their former associate head coach Kevin Young being the head coach at BYU. They got killed by Houston, which that's fine. They showed out in their first game beating Iowa State in the Big 12 tournament. VCU is really good. But I think the height, I think the experience, I think the offensive firepower, this team's sixth in the country from two. VCU, if VCU is able to guard the way they did in the A-10, they can easily win this game. But let's just throw this out there. BYU, by the way, BYU is a team that I'm not too worried about the lack of experience. Like, I get that there's a lack of experience there. But there's also a couple guys in that team that have played plenty of basketball. Richie Saunders is one of them. He's shooting 43% from threes, his third year at BYU. I get that Yegor is a freshman, and he's had some moments this year where like, wow, this guy sucks. By the way, if Illinois fans thought Kasparas Yakachonis is a big problem, like Yegor has been pretty brutal in terms of production and efficiency for them, and he's doing the same things. He had 9 turnovers in 2 games in the Big 12 tournament. I'm just saying. But I'm going to take BYU. I do like VCU a lot, but think about this as well. VCU is traveling from here all the way to here. They're going to Denver as well. And BYU's in Utah. So I think that's another factor. Give me the Cougars of BYU.
Yeah, I'm taking BYU.
Wisconsin, Montana. I think Wisconsin's only going to be up like 4 or 5 at the half. We're like, what the hell's going on? I think the Badgers roll them, though. Give me Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'll take Wisconsin.
All right. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. This is an interesting one here. St. Mary's is 28-5. They're top 10 defensive efficiency. They guard the 3 well. They hold teams at 31.2%. Vanderbilt has been struggling in the last couple weeks. I guess they had that 3-game stretch. They beat Ole Miss, beat Texas A&M on the road, beat Missouri. They lost 3 straight. They lost by 7 to Texas on Wednesday in the SEC tournament. This team has a lot of experience. First year for Mark Byington there. He's at James Madison last year. But I don't want to see A.J. Hoggard play basketball at all. So I'm going to take St. Mary's. St. Mary's has some really, really good players. And St. Mary's has 2, count them, folks, 2 European players that you're going to want to write down, both from Lithuania. Moraskis is one of them, of course, the 6'8 sophomore. And then buckle up for this one. Marcy Ulionis is the other one, 6'4 guard. His 4th year there as well. He's been really good at 25 against Oregon State in the West Coast Conference Tournament. Give me St. Mary's to win that game, probably by 30.
Yeah, I'm taking St. Mary's.
And then Alabama is playing Robert Morris. Give me Alabama. I said yesterday in the bracket show I like Alabama's draw. I worry about some injury stuff there. I don't know what the situation is with Grant Nelson, but give me the Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Same.
Grant Nelson played 10 minutes in their last game of the SEC tournament, by the way. All right, let's go down to the Midwest. Houston and SIUE. I'm a little uncomfortable with the fact that people didn't have SIUE in their brackets rather than SIU Edwardsville. It should say SIUE. I think SIUE comes out flying. I think they'll probably have a 4-2 lead, and then Kelvin Sampson will call timeout and be like, "What are we doing here, boys?" And then Houston probably wins by 35. But I think SIU is going to put in a good effort.
Yeah, I think biggest spread of the tournament right now. So,
it won't be once Auburn and Duke have their opponents.
That's true.
So, third biggest spread. Nice try, slandering the Cougars.
Opening spread of what's out there with Vegas.
Yes, that is correct.
Cool.
By the way, KenPom has this as a 24-point game. So, Vegas getting a little ahead of their skis there. All right, Gonzaga, Georgia. Is there any way in hell Mark Few loses to Georgia in the first round? Like, come on.
No.
I don't even want to look at the numbers between these two teams because I just don't see that happening. But if I were to hypothetically look at the numbers, I would say this. I would say Georgia has some really talented guys. Asa Newell is going to be a first-round pick. They got Blue Kane, a talented player. But Gonzaga just like they're super old. They got the same guys they've had for the last 3 or 4 years, minus having Drew Timme or Jalen Suggs or Chet Holmgren like they did a few years ago. But Nembhard's still there. They got Nolan Hickman. Like this is not it's just not a good matchup for Georgia. So I think another SEC team bites the dust. I think there's 3 SEC teams in the 8-9 line. I think they all lose, and this is another one. Clemson and McNeese, 2 potential candidates for the Indiana job, although I don't think Will Wade's going to get hired by Indiana. But Brad Brownell, legitimate candidate for the Indiana job. What's your thought on this game? Like, who do you
got? I can't go against Will Wade, and I'm just now realizing that I picked all 12 seeds to win. So maybe I should switch this one. But I'm going with McNeese because I don't trust any ACC team besides Duke.
I think we've raved enough about the job that Will Wade's done at McNeese. This is not like he took over an already powerful mid-major program and turned them into something. He took over a team that sucked for years and turned them into a powerhouse. I understand the NIL part of it helps. The fact that he's not doing illegal stuff to get players anymore helps because it's now legal to do that. I like Clemson. I understand they have injuries. I like their team, but they made a deep run last year. It's not happening again. Give me McNeese to get it done. I just think there's something there. And they played power conference opponents this year. They lost to Bama by 8. They hung around with them. They lost to Mississippi State by 3. So they had some early hiccups. This is a team that started 5-5. They played a pretty tough schedule, literally the toughest schedule possible for a Southland team to play. They played it. And since starting 5-5, since losing by 3 to Mississippi State, this team is 22-1. So we're going to take McNeese. I like McNeese. Purdue and High Point. This is where chaos could ensue, I think. High Point's offense is one that I love. Top 25 offensive efficiency. I don't give a damn what conference they're playing in. There are plenty of teams from the Big South that have been very good in the tournament, or at least, held their own against other teams. You look at, some of the Pat Kelsey stuff at Winthrop. I don't know. I just have a feeling about High Point here. Do I do it? Oh, man.
Just don't trust Purdue, huh?
Purdue, Brayton Smith is very capable of just controlling this game from start to finish and then winning.
Yeah.
But
he's got to have some help. It's got to be more than him and TKR. That's for sure.
Purdue has, when I say no interior defense, I mean none. 350th in the country teams are shooting from 2 against them. They don't guard the 2. Like TKR is not an interior presence like Edey. And I just, oh man. And that's the thing. Purdue lost to North Texas a few years ago as a 4 seed. Last time they were a 4 seed, they lost to North Texas. Who coached North Texas? Of course, Texas Tech's Grant McCaslin was the head coach of that team. And that was another team we went into like, hey, they got Jaden Ivey, they got Edey in year 1 or 2 or whatever. They got who's the other big man they had? Travion something. I don't know.
Yeah, Travion something. I know who you're talking about.
Travion Williams.
Thank you. Yeah.
They lost by 9.
Picture him. I'm just gonna think of his last name.
This is my final bracket. This is my bracket for this show.
Right.
I'm taking High Point.
I'm taking Purdue.
Sell out. Illinois and Xavier is on my bracket here. I think Xavier's very capable of beating Illinois. Like, very. Like, I'm surprised if anybody's picking against Illinois, I think you have to pick Xavier to beat them. Not Texas, Xavier. But I think Illinois gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, we're Illinois basketball podcast. I got Illinois going to the Final Four. So,
whoa! I think that we finally see the good Kasparis Yakachonis and the good Will Riley in the same game. I think we finally see that. I don't know if we've seen that at all, honestly. Kentucky, Troy. I think Troy is terrible. I think Arkansas State should have won the Sun Belt tournament. So I think Kentucky handles it. But keep in mind, folks, Mark Pope went to the tournament 2 times at BYU and didn't win a game. So, and they were a 6 seed last year. They lost to Duquesne. And we saw what Duquesne did against Illinois in the second round. They got the shit beat out of them. So I'm not just going to sit here and say, oh, it's Kentucky. They're going to get to the Sweet 16 because Mark Pope never made the tournament at Utah Valley. They had a couple good teams. And then 2021 first round loss to BYU. 2024 first round loss to BYU. So just saying, Kentucky wins this game, though.
Yeah.
UCLA, Utah State. Whoo, boy. I really, really like Utah State's offense, and I really, really like UCLA's defense. So which one occurs here? Which one shows up more? Like, Utah State doesn't turn the ball over a ton. UCLA forces a lot of turnovers. Utah State's about as good of an interior team you're going to find in the Mountain West when it comes to scoring. They're 57.7%. They have just as much experience. Both teams very similar in the experience factor. Utah State has guards that can go. I really like Utah State, but I'm going to take Mick Cronin here. I think UCLA wins this one.
I'm taking Utah State.
There's also kind of a golden rule where you really don't want to pick too many Mountain West teams, and I'm probably going to pick 2 of them to win in the first round, so I won't pick them all. Tennessee, Wofford. I've said this line like 4 times to people in private. Fletcher McGee's not walking through that door for Wofford. Tennessee's going to win by 100.
Yeah, Tennessee.
You remember Fletcher McGee?
Fletcher McGee. Not really, no.
I think he was the all-time three-point shooter in NCAA history, and just he was kind of like Jack Golke from Oakland before Jack Golke. Absolute stud at Wofford. Anyway, they had that great game with Kentucky in 2019. Anyway, to the West. We're almost an hour in, and I'm struggling.
You're struggling. I'm dying.
You're fine. Florida, Norfolk State. Florida, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma, UConn the 8, Oklahoma the 9. Is there any scenario where the UConn Huskies get schemed up by Porter Moser and Oklahoma beats them?
I don't think so. Because unlike Brad Underwood, Hurley's the best effing coach in college basketball.
Okay. Oklahoma's efficient on offense, and they got good guards. This is going to come down to how does the 3-headed monster of Oklahoma and Kobe Elvis, Duke Miles, and Jeremiah Fears, how do those guys handle Hassan Diarra and solo ball and the length and the athleticism that UConn can put on teams in the open or on the perimeter defensively? I also worry about the fact that UConn has not been good defensively this year. So this could be a high-scoring game. The numbers would tell you this game should be played in the 80s, but I don't think it will be because I think these two coaches are going to get their teams to guard in March. And I think it's good for UConn to get out of the Big East, get out of Big East play, reset. And I think it's good for Oklahoma to get out of the SEC. But I think we're going to avoid a second-round SEC matchup here, and I think UConn handles business.
Yeah, I'm going to take UConn.
Memphis, Colorado State, we've talked plenty about this. I get that Nico Medved has 1 foot out the door. He's obviously going to Minnesota, but injuries for Memphis. Dane Danger loses in the first round. Colorado State wins.
Colorado State, yeah.
Maryland, Grand Canyon. Now, I wouldn't be so fast to rule out Grand Canyon here, but I can't pick another 13 seed. I've already picked 2 of them. So Tion Grant Foster is really good. I think Grand Canyon can hang a little bit with them, but Maryland's depth is going to be a problem down the stretch, but I'm going to take Maryland to win that one.
Yeah, I'm taking Maryland.
Missouri and Drake. Now, on one end, you have a Missouri team that likes to do what Akron and Arizona do, which is get up and down the floor, make a bunch of shots, play offense. And on the other end, you have Ben McCollum's Drake team, which is very focused on rebounding the basketball, guarding, kind of slogging the game down. It's a contrast of styles here. And I don't know how those typically go in the tournament. I probably could have run some numbers on that. I'm going to take Missouri to win. I don't think Drake has the numbers offensively to get it done. There's some health issues possibly for Missouri. We'll see, but that could be a really fun game. And I kind of disagree with Philip here. I think if Missouri plays the way that they usually play, I think it will be maybe a little bit more exciting. And I don't think Drake can hang with that.
I'm going to take Drake.
Hater. I hate him too. Texas Tech and UNC Wilmington. JT Toppin's going to go for 25 and 15. Give me Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Kansas and Arkansas. Bill Self and John Calipari in Providence, Rhode Island. Winner plays Rick Pitino. Sorry, Omaha, you're a great story, but I'm taking St. John's to beat Omaha. Man, this game, Kansas and Arkansas were both teams that were on my list for unwatchable going into the tournament, but them being together makes it watchable for me. When's this game? Is this game Thursday night or something?
The 20th at 6:10.
So Thursday night, 6:10 CBS. Whew, this is the primetime spot, Kansas and Arkansas. Boogie Fland is coming back for Arkansas. And I think a lot of people have said this already, and I'm agreeing with them. Boogie Fland makes Arkansas worse. He just does. They've been better without him. They got those glue guys that I think are very important in games like this. That's, of course, Carter Knox and Billy Richmond. Thoreau's a guy that you look at, and he hasn't played since February 22nd. I don't know what his status is going in. A lot of concerns for Arkansas, as I call them, but I just think this is a Kansas blow-up spot where it's going to make Bill Self not want to coach anymore. All these guys are going to be done with college basketball, and Kentucky fans are going to be pissed off that John Calipari won in the first round because I think Arkansas wins this game.
Yeah, I'm going to have Arkansas winning also.
All right. Back up to the South. Auburn, Louisville, second round. I am taking Auburn.
I'm taking Auburn also.
This is going to be the type of game, though, where Louisville's leading until the final 10 minutes that Auburn takes over, I believe. UC San Diego, Texas A&M. Oh, boy. Give me the Tritons. I'm taking UC San Diego.
I'm going to take Texas A&M in that game.
Wow, that is very rude. All right, Ole Miss, Iowa State. I really, really like this Ole Miss team when they're going, so I'm going to take Ole Miss. I'm worried about the health of Iowa State, and Iowa State's been a team that's been to, two Sweet 16s in the last 4 or 5 years. I don't think they're going to get there this year. I think Chris Beard gets it done. Chris Beard is, like, in a way, one of the 3 or 4 best NCAA tournament coaches in the last 7 or 8 years. So I'm taking Ole Miss.
I'm taking Ole Miss also.
New Mexico, Michigan State. As much as I like Donovan Dent, as much as I like Nelly Jr. Joseph, I think the physicality, the size of Michigan State, the coaching, I think it's going to be too much. Give me the Spartans.
The crying. Michigan State.
All right, over to the East. Duke and Baylor. Underrated storyline of this one is Jeremy Roach. Baylor guard will be playing his former team, the Duke Blue Devils. So keep an eye on that storyline. I think Duke wins by 100, though, right? Even with, like, if I would sit flag in the first round, play him in this game, I think Duke wins.
Yeah.
I think they could sit flag in this game and still win.
True.
Oregon Akron is what I have here. Dana Altman loves nothing more than just getting to the Sweet 16. They're going to do it again. So give me the Ducks.
I have Liberty in Arizona, and I'm going to take Arizona.
Caleb Love. He's going to shoot him out of the game against Akron.
That's all right.
BYU, Wisconsin. As much as I want BYU to be in the Sweet 16, I'm not seeing it here. I'm taking Wisconsin.
I am going to take BYU over Wisconsin.
You'll probably
Wisconsin's
be right.
going to have an off day again.
St. Mary's and Alabama. Alabama, I think it's done.
Same.
Houston and Gonzaga. Whew. Mark Few has been to, let me see here. Let me get my numbers right. How many Sweet 16s in a row do you think Mark Few's been to?
7.
He's been to 9 straight Sweet 16s. The last time they weren't in the Sweet 16 was 2014. They also were 31-2 in the COVID year, so they probably would have gotten the Sweet 16 that year. Sweet 16 last year, Elite 8, Sweet 16, runner-up, Elite 8, Sweet 16, runner-up, Sweet 16, Elite 8. That's all they do. I'm really, really high on this Houston team. I think this is Kelvin Sampson's best team. But Mark Few is going to keep the streak alive. Give me Gonzaga.
I'm taking Houston.
Mood killer.
Sorry.
I'm going to take McNeese over High Point in the next one. So I'm going to have an 8 against a 12 in the Sweet 16.
Okay. I'm
Chaotic.
taking McNeese over Purdue. So,
woo. If Will Way gets to the Sweet 16 with McNeese, there 95% of AD should fire their coaches and hire him.
True.
Illinois, Kentucky. I don't trust either one of these teams when it really comes down to it.
Yeah.
But I don't see Mark Pope getting to the Sweet 16 in year 1 at Kentucky, so I'm taking Illinois.
I got Illinois winning. Yes.
UCLA, Tennessee. This could be a game that's played in the 40s. I mean, defense in this game, and who's got the best player on the floor? Tennessee's got probably the 2 best players on the floor with Chaz Lanier, and look at the way Jordan Gainey's playing. I think Jordan Gainey's probably better than Sebastian Mack. But maybe I'm wrong there. That might be, getting too far ahead of myself. But I'm going to take Tennessee in that one.
I have Utah State versus Tennessee, and I got Utah State winning.
Trying to give Illinois the easiest draw possible. The West region, Florida and UConn. That's the thing with Kentucky. That's right. They're not as healthy as Illinois. Florida, UConn is an interesting matchup in the fact that you kind of look at what Florida's been. I know everybody loves Florida right now. I've loved them for a long time this season, but I struggled to see them doing exactly what people think they're going to do. But I am going to take Florida to win this game. I think UConn can't keep up with how good Florida's roster is. It's just really, really good. Colorado State and Maryland. By the way, do you have Florida over whoever? UConn?
UConn, yeah.
Colorado State, Maryland. I'm taking Maryland here.
Maryland also, yes.
Missouri, Texas Tech. I don't think Missouri can keep up. Texas Tech.
I got Drake, Texas Tech, but I also have Texas Tech moving on.
I'm taking St. John's over Arkansas as well.
Same.
Duke and Oregon is what I have in the next one. Or actually, we go up. I meant to go up. Auburn, UC San Diego. I am taking Auburn to beat UC San Diego. What a shame.
I have Auburn versus Texas A&M. I got Texas A&M winning this one. Beat them once this year. Beat them
Hell of a run for San Diego. I'm taking Michigan State over Ole Miss.
I got Ole Miss beating Michigan State.
Duke, Oregon. Give me Duke.
Duke, Arizona. Give me Duke.
I'll take Bama over Wisconsin.
I got Bama over BYU.
I'm taking Gonzaga over McNeese.
Where are we at?
Midwest.
I got Houston over McNeese. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll take
I was confused.
I'll take Tennessee over Illinois.
Illinois over Utah State.
Give them the easiest path possible. I'm not I'd like that. Florida over Maryland.
Florida over Maryland, yes.
Road stops here for the Johnnies. Give me Texas Tech over
I
Florida.
got Texas Tech also.
and I know I had St. John's preseason Final Four.
Yeah, you did.
And I stand by that, except I don't stand by it unless it happens.
Okay.
Auburn, Michigan State. Tom Izzo's going to do it again. I think Michigan State gets the Final Four.
I got Texas A&M over Ole Miss. I mean, Texas A&M in the Final Four.
Duke, Alabama. I know there's injury concerns for Alabama, but hit the road, Cooper Flag. You're done. Give me Bama.
I got Duke winning that all day long.
Gonzaga, Tennessee. Rick Barnes getting to the Final Four? No. Give me Gonzaga.
Houston, Illinois. Give me Illinois in the Final Four.
Yikes. Florida, Michigan State, or Florida, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Becomes Florida, Michigan State. Give me Florida.
Take Florida.
My Final Four is Michigan State, Florida, Alabama, Gonzaga. I don't know why I trusted Gonzaga. This is not my real bracket, folks.
Me neither. I got Illinois there.
My national championship is going to be Florida and Alabama.
Mine's going to be Florida and Duke. Duke wins the national title. Cooper Flag comes back for year 2.
Unlike you, I'm sticking with our preseason prediction, and I'm taking Alabama to win the national championship.
Wow.
There it is, folks. Let me sign it here. Sign at the bottom there.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right.
Is that an auto pin?
It is not. I do my signature the exact same every time because I'm not 180 years old. All right. Let's finish it off here with the rapid fire segment that I came up with.
Okay. Do you want me to ask these questions to you?
That would probably make more sense unless you have an answer for them.
Yeah, probably not.
And I haven't even had a chance to answer these, so I'm just going off the top of my head, which is
all right.
Also, check this out. New binder cover for me there.
Wow. I'm glad you
Midwest.
found paper.
Yeah, the Midwest is the only one I haven't printed yet. I got to do that later.
Oh,
more numbers to dive into. No, I got paper. I just didn't do it before this. Oh. All right.
Who is the best player in each region? Go.
Oh God, I put my bracket away. Janai Broom is the best player in the South region. Cooper Flagg's the best player in the East region. Walter Clayton is the best player from Florida. So all the one seeds have the best players so far. But then the Midwest is where I kind of, take a turn. And that's where I say, let me find the team here. Tennessee. Hold on.
Yeah. Hold
on.
Do you want me to list the teams for you?
No, I got it. The best player in the Graham Ike is the best player in the conference, Gonzaga.
Okay. Interesting.
Had 27 in the West Coast Conference semifinal.
Does it say something that it took you so long to pick one in the Midwest? Like the Midwest is weak? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Casper Siakachonis is the best player. What?
Shout out to Harper and Bailey, best players in the NIT. I don't think they accepted, did they? Which coach has the most to gain this March?
Bruce Pearl. Number 1 overall seed. Got to the Final Four in 2019. Got to win one this year.
Okay. Most vulnerable seeds on the 1, 2, 3 lines in each region.
I think Iowa State's the most vulnerable with the injuries in the South.
Yep.
In the East, I think with the travel and the fact they played 4 in 4 days and they look like absolute shit yesterday, Wisconsin in the East.
Yep.
In the Midwest, I definitely think it's going to be Kentucky. Lamont Butler is going to be playing injured. They got injury issues. So they got to play an absolute wagon, Illinois. Well, hang on a second.
Okay.
And I think the most vulnerable, folks, I'm not afraid to say it, is St. John's. In the they've been so good that I just worry, like, man, going to run out at some point.
Nebraska and USC in the crown. Interesting. What team isn't being discussed enough?
Great question. Thanks for asking. I don't know who came up with that. That team is obviously the Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
Why are they not being discussed at all? This team is going to get to the Sweet 16. I'm so sure of that. And
I mean, I've seen a lot of brackets that have them beating Arizona.
All right, we'll skip them then. You know who else is not discussed enough? Ole Miss. There you go. I got Ole Miss in the Sweet 16. I think Ole Miss is really good.
Same. I agree. Which 1 seed goes down first?
According to my bracket, it's Houston in the second round, but I'm going to say it's a tie between Houston and Auburn. I think either one of those teams could lose in the second round.
I would agree. Most likely 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 seed to get to the second weekend.
I'll do one of each real quick.
Okay.
6 seeds, it's obviously Ole Miss. We've established this. It's Ole Miss and it's Illinois. 7 seeds, I think you have to say that it would be with the matchups. I guess you go UCLA. 7 seed, I don't know. I don't really like that. But 8 seeds, it's Gonzaga. 9 seed, I have all the 9 seeds losing except for Baylor, and I don't think Baylor has any chance in hell. So give me Oklahoma as the most likely 9 seed to get to the second weekend. And then 10 seed, I don't have any of them getting there. But if I had to put one, I'd say Arkansas because it'd be funny.
Okay. Top 5 favorite games to watch in the first round.
Great question. Another good one.
All off the top of my head. It's pretty impressive.
Louisville Creighton is one of them. Louisville Creighton. Yep. UC San Diego, Michigan is another one. Akron, Arizona is another one. And then 2 others, I would say, I think – hold on.
You already said one, Arkansas and Kansas.
Arkansas, Kansas. Yeah. It's borderline because it's not going to be that great. But
okay.
And then my final one is going to be Illinois Xavier.
Now one of those 4-13s or something that you're picking?
Yeah, Purdue High Point is going to be a great one. And also, I think Clemson McNeese will be fun to watch as well.
Okay. Which window of games is the best on Thursday and Friday?
Boy, it'd be ideal if I had that pulled up right now. So, I'm going to say I think it was Friday night looks electric or something is what they're saying, right?
Here, let me send this to
you. Friday night has
there you go. Friday, there's this TV schedule.
Here we go. Yeah, Friday night you have Illinois playing their game, UConn, Oklahoma, and then Oregon Liberty is going to be fun. I mean, Friday night's the best, easily. So everybody look forward to Friday night. It's going to be a good time.
Okay. I would I'd love to do a bracket challenge with you guys, but ESPN won't let me log in, so I can't set it up. If we figure it out before, we'll tweet it out. We'll let you know. Are we doing a show tomorrow for?
Yeah, we can. We just don't know who they're going to play, I guess, is the problem.
Right. We can't do it. I mean, it'd be hard to do it Wednesday because it's not till like super late. Unless we do it like Thursday morning.
Yeah, we could do Thursday morning, like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Early, yeah.
All right, we'll try Thursday morning for that. And then I think we'll do – I guess we do a late Friday night reaction to the game since we did reactions after all the games last year.
Yeah.
Probably do that again. And then if we can figure out a way to get an episode in before they play, if they play Sunday, who knows? But we'll figure all that out. And follow the – podcast account Fighting with Dave Wisnowski, whatever the fuck his name is.
Dude.
Yeah, that guy's a weird individual.
Dude. Like he can't have an instant reaction tweet and then me have an instant reaction one.
He walked it back instantly.
I know. He's like, this was instant reaction. Well, so was mine when I saw that you said tough draw. Like,
yeah, bizarre.
Come on, tough draw.
All right, we will talk to everybody then. Alabama's going to win the national championship, I guess. I don't know. We'll see everybody then. Goodbye.